If Gotham has fallen, where is Batman? And what happened to Robin? Tim Drake, is he still out there? Today we're going to be exploring those options in Dark Detective and Robin Eternal. But you're at the Comicstorian channel, where we take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read them dramatically back to you. Future State is a 2-month event that DC Comics is running in which they tell just alternate stories of the future, present, and past of your favorite superheroes. Let's start off with Dark Detective number 1. The skies pour down upon Gotham Cemetery, and in the distance, a backhoe digs another plot for another body. No one sees the man staring through the chain-link fence. Bruce Wayne, son of Gotham, shot and killed last month in the alleyway. Bruce ran, the wound in his stomach leaking blood all over the place. "Bruce Wayne, we know who you are," Peacekeeper 01 called as Bruce fled. Now Bruce turns and walks away from the cemetery fence before anyone else can notice him. He finds himself in a cafe, broke and unable to even afford any food. "Take a seat, I'll be with you in a sec," the guy behind the counter calls, not even bothering to look up from his phone. The girl next to him begins to talk, mentioning how both Batman and Bruce Wayne have died this month. "Makes you wonder who's next. Celebrities always die in threes, you know," she mentions quietly to him. But Bruce is barely listening, staring at the ketchup that she is pouring on her fries. Then, Bruce pounded on the door. "Open up! I can pay!" He gasps shortly, falling to his knees, blood still leaking from the wound. We're back to when he was shot. We're back to where this started. The best butcher in Gotham opens up the door, and Bruce hands over the last of the Wayne fortune, seeped in his own blood. "Take a seat, and try not to die while I prep," the butcher says, motioning to the operating table. Bruce grimaces as the doctor works his magic, pulling the bullet out of his torso. "What'd they shoot you with?" the butcher questions. It was the next day that Peacekeeper 01 made it official. Batman had been shot and killed. The magistrate promised to continue their war against violent criminals and the vigilantes of Gotham City. Now, with all of that gone and him supposedly dead, Bruce stands in the center of Gotham, looking up at the flashing lights of the billboards and the ads. The people walk by, stuck in their own virtual world, unaware of the tragedy going on around them. It's a city that Bruce no longer recognizes, but he stares at his face, displayed for the world to showcase the death of Gotham's favorite son, and he runs. This is all too much for him. He finds himself in the darkness of an alleyway, but the city won't let him die. Not really. "Hey, let me go!" a man screams. "Shut up!" is the reply as Bruce looks up, and at the end of the alleyway, 3 thugs are holding a man at gunpoint. "I said shut up now!" one shouts, and Bruce places his hand on the thug's shoulder. "Let him go," he said simply. The thug whirled around with a knife, but Bruce easily blocks it, punching the goon hard in the stomach. The others move, but Bruce whirls, kicking one in the face. Suddenly, the fight is interrupted as Peacekeeper sirens sound. Bruce turns distracted, only to catch a punch from one of the thugs in the face. The goons scatter as the alleyway is lit up by the magistrate drone. "Stop all movement!" it commands, but Bruce doesn't hesitate. He runs hard down the alleyway in a split second. The drone is joined by others, their searchlight following Bruce as he pushes as fast as he can. The wound in his stomach pulls, he feels it tearing open, and he reaches into his pocket, pulling out his mask. He puts it on. "Stop all movement! By the order of the magistrate!" the drone commands, as Bruce pulls off his civilian clothes to reveal the body armor beneath. His grappling gun fires, and Batman is yanked from the ground. The drones open fire, and a stray round nicks Batman in the leg. He can feel the wound in his stomach on fire. It was his technology and company that built the magistrate. But that just means that he knows how to burn it all down. He grits his teeth. Funeral's over. Cash glances casually at the gun to his head. It isn't as bad as it looks. "This means you fold?" Cash asks. But the man doesn't waver. He knows that Cash has something up his sleeve. He knows that he's been cheating. But Cash moves fast, yanking the man's arm and pulling the pistol from his hand. Out of his sleeve, he pulls out a knife, pinning the guy's hand to the table. The guy screams as Cash pulls the knife back and picks up the heavy pistol. "Don't accuse someone of cheating unless you're really sure you can take him in a fight, moron!" Cash snaps, throwing the pistol back on the table, aware that everyone is staring at him. "Don't act like you've never seen anyone get stabbed before," Cash says simply. A call from behind gets his attention as the GCPD officers ask if they can, have a word. "Gun's not mine," Cash says as he picks up his money. "We know who you are, Cole Cash," the female officer states, and the entire bar suddenly stops and stares. The thugs and goons all begin to move forward. They've all been slighted by Cole Cash in some way or another. Everyone calm down. I can explain, Cole says as his hand curls around a bottle of beer. He spins quickly, cracking the bottle over the head of the nearest goon. Then he flips and rolls as the bar turns into a massive fight. He moves fast, his feet and fists striking out against anyone that gets close. A kick taking him in the back, and he stumbles to the door, landing outside. Not ideal, but I'll take any exit I can get, he thinks to himself as he falls to the ground. He looks up and he's greeted by dozens of cops and their combat drones. But he doesn't hesitate. He makes a break for it across the street, but a car hits him and he cracks onto the windshield. Ow, I'm okay. He gasps as the cops surround him again. Quickly, Cash is loaded into the back of the police van, his cuffs magnetized to the roof. He looks up to see a man in a suit sitting across from him. Cole, is that you? Luke Fox asks. No, sorry, Cole says with a shake of his head. Cole avoids Luke's questions, but doesn't seem overly surprised to find one of Gotham's favorite sons in the back of a magistrate van. They're finishing up the roundup, so all the masks and capes are targets. Luke explains, even though Cole didn't ask. He tries to explain that he's out of the game and he doesn't associate with anyone, but Luke smiles. Batwing hasn't flown in years either. You have to get me out of here, Luke finally whispers as the van continues to speed through the city. Get yourself out of here, Cole grumbles, and he looks up telling Luke that they're people who can get him out of Gotham if he has the money. Yeah? Who? Luke questions. If I knew that, you think I'd still be in the city? Cole snaps. They continue to argue, but finally Cole lashes out, kicking Luke hard in the face. Fox slumps in his cuffs as Cole begins to kick on the wall of the cab. Hey guard! This guy started puking blood and passed out! Cole shouts, and the door slides open and the guard orders Cole to stay in his seat. He checks the unconscious Fox before calling for backup with his buddy. Steve, this guy's messed up. How far out? The guard begins to call, but he's interrupted as Cole wraps his legs around the guy's throat and begins to choke him from behind. Luke, grab his gun! Cole shouts, but Luke doesn't move, and the guard pulls his own pistol trying to shoot Cash. Luke, stop playing! Fine, I'll do it myself! Cole yells as he kicks the guard's gun and the rounds chew through the front of the van. The van screeches through the traffic, slamming into the cars until it finally flips over. The driver struggles to the back of the van, pulling out his pistol, ordering Cole to get on his knees, and finally, Luke sits up, aiming a pistol at the guard. Drop it. The guard does as he's told, and Luke begins to yell at Cole for his insane plan. You made me use a gun! I hate guns! Luke shouts. You didn't use it, you pointed it at someone. Cole reminds him as he takes the pistol and shoots the guard in the leg. That's using it, Cole explains. Fox tries to yell at him, but Cash quickly explains that the guard was going for his gun and now he'll get a month's paid leave. Cole grabs another pistol and the two exit the van. Luke tries to convince Cole to get him out of the city, finally offering him $50,000. Cole curses as he throws his cigarette aside. And a short time later, Cole unlocks his apartment and leads Luke inside. Get comfy, because we're not going anywhere until I get two things, Cole tells him. He gets the first and he pulls one of his pistols out of a duffel bag. He pulls out a large rifle as well, aiming it at Luke's head. And the truth is the other, Cole tells him. Luke holds up his hands, re-explaining that the magistrate grabbed him because he used to be Batwing. He can't call his family because he doesn't want his father to know what he did. He pulls a credit card out of his pocket, explaining that it has access to an untraceable $50,000. And now it's yours, Luke tells Cole. Finally believing Luke Fox, Cole begins to pull out other gear from his bags. He hands Luke a mask with no eye holes, explaining that his contact has some trust issues. What about you? Luke asks as Cole begins to pull on his own mask. Oh, I got my own. And when he turns around, we see that Cole Cash is Grifter. They move through the city streets quickly, with Grifter telling Luke not to be suspicious. I have a sack on my head and you're wearing a goddamn bandana over your face, Luke points out. This is the Narrows, man. It's not suspicious here, Cole tells him as they duck into an alleyway. Well, if it isn't the Grifter himself. The woman sits on top of the fence, looking down at the pair as her thugs begin to surround them. You screwed us, Grifter, she accuses him, but Cole shakes his head. Vale, I would never screw the Black Mass Syndicate, he tells her. And she points out that he did. Intentionally. I would never do it intentionally. In fact, I was just coming to find you, he explains as Luke pulls off his mask and they go back to back. He looks at Luke. Why don't you tell them why we're here? Yeah, he has $50,000 for you to cover what happened. Grifter glares at him. That's your line? He hisses. What was I supposed to say? Make something up! Grifter snaps, and he lashes out, punching the nearest black mask goon, telling Luke to run. They keep running, rounding the corner as Cash can turn and open fire on the advancing gang members. They round another corner and dive behind a bomb. Cole throws a grenade trying to get the gang to back off, but they seem to be better equipped than the last members. And finally, they duck inside of an abandoned bakery. "I think we lost him," Cole says with a sigh of relief. "That's great, but where the hell are we?" Luke asks as he looks around the kitchen. Cole pulls off his mask, commenting that he still got it since they arrived where they needed to go. "We're in the home of one of the last and best criminals that this city has ever produced. The queen of clubs herself," Cole says as he pulls a card from his sleeve that depicts the Huntress. He leans down, lighting a cigarette. "You might want to throw that hood back on. The Huntress isn't someone that you want mad at you." And in the shadows of the room, Huntress aims her crossbow. Tim Drake looks down as the rain pours around him. Below him, 3 magistrate guards discuss the really good air packs and their breathing. Robin continues to watch his camo suit, keeping him hidden from those guards. "Stop all movement! By order of the magistrate!" the cyber shouts as it attacks Robin from behind, able to pick out his heat signature. He leaps away, pulling out an EMP grenade from his belt as Cyber gets closer. He throws the grenade, allowing it to detonate against the robot's chest. "What?" He gasps as the robot doesn't fall and continues to move forward. It reaches through the smoke, wrapping its powerful hands around Robin's throat. "Heads up!" a voice calls out as a powerful blast of energy takes off the robot's head. Tim looks up to see Stephanie standing over him, a large laser cannon in her hands. "I was in the neighborhood and saw a little bird in trouble," she tells him. Tim's shock at seeing his old friend passes as he kicks the cyber off the ledge, letting it plummet to the alleyway below. They both leap after it and Tim begins to inspect the corpse. "I thought you were sticking to the civilian life," Tim asks as he touches the green goo that has begun to leak from the cyber. "You're welcome, Robin. It's been a while," Stephanie says as she leans over Tim's shoulder. But Tim looks back at her, pointing out that she was the one who hung up the cape after Bruce was killed. Stephanie just looks at him and Tim changes the subject, letting her know that a shipment is coming that supposedly makes the cybers unbeatable. He holds up his hand and it's covered in a green liquid. "This one is using a prototype of the substance. I wanted to see its effects in action." This guy didn't seem so bad, Tim notes. But Stephanie folds her arms, pointing out that the EMP grenade didn't even slow the machine down, telling Robin that he should have kept his camo active. Tim shakes his head, explaining that he couldn't use the shock absorbers and the camo. "You can't do everything on your own," Stephanie finally tells him. And Tim nods, asking her to help him stop the convoy before it reaches Gotham. "Sorry, Tim. I'm not interested in watching people that I love die," Stephanie tells him with a sad smile, and she pulls on her hood and turns, firing her grappling gun into the air and swinging away. Tim looks down at the sample of green liquid in his hands. If Stephanie won't help him, there's only one person who will. The next day, Tim walks into the Gotham Customs office. He interrupts the jerk that is harassing his friend, holding out a cup of coffee to her with a smile. Darcy stands up, signing a few words and walking away from the stunned, angry jerk. Outside, Darcy explains that she turns her ear module off so that she won't have to listen to people being ignorant. And they switch to sign language due to Tim being afraid of the magistrate eavesdropping. He holds up the sample, asking if she has any idea what it is. Darcy looks afraid as she explains that it's called the Lazarus Resign. She tells him that the liquid is siphoned from the Lazarus pit, and it's rumored to allow synthetics to regenerate. They're bringing the new, more potent batch in tonight. It's supposed to make cybers immortal. She finishes. They've moved now, sitting in Darcy's office, and Tim looks at her, signing that he is going to destroy the new shipment. He asks for her help, explaining that she can help guide him. Show him where to go. "And you're going up there with or without me, aren't you?" "Yeah, there's no way that I'm letting the stupidest genius I know die up there," she tells him. Later that night, Tim and Darcy fly through the air with a jetpack, Robin telling her to prepare to detach on his mark as they draw closer to the convoy ahead. "Need a hand?" Stephanie calls from the side of the convoy. She reaches out, taking Darcy's hand and helping her on board. "Ah, you're a sight for sore eyes," Robin calls, as he reaches out for the ladder. "Well, when have I not followed you on a suicide mission?" Spoiler jokes. And they slip quietly inside of the convoy shipment, moving amongst the containers, but Darcy suddenly stops them. "We have a problem. They're using a communication dampener, which is messing with my ear module, which means," she tells them, as suddenly they're surrounded by magistrate soldiers. "Find the resin! We'll be right behind you!" Robin shouts as he and Spoiler leap in front of the soldiers. As Darcy runs forward, Robin and Spoiler continue to follow her, fighting the guards as they move. They round the corner to find the container of resin, and a voice suddenly commands them from behind. "Halt!" it orders. "Spoiler, try the cannon, it worked last time!" Robin shouts, and Stephanie raises her weapon, firing it into the robot's head, but it keeps coming, not even phased. Robin leaps over the robot's back, attacking the container of resin, allowing it to leak onto the floor. "It ends now! You're not hurting my family!" Robin shouts, but the cyber moves fast, yanking Robin off of the container, wrapping its hands around his throat. He gasps as it chokes the life out of him, snapping his neck. Turning, it lets his body fall to the ground, dead. The resin continues to leak out, pooling around Tim's body. "The resin, it's all over him," Darcy whispers, and suddenly the bones of Tim's body begin to snap back into place and heal. "Hell of a round one! Now round two," Tim snarls as he gets up. So I actually really like these two issues. The idea of Tim Drake just continuing to be Robin and now having Lazarus Pit stuff and that could reconstitute his bones is pretty cool, and I'm interested to see where that storyline's going to go. But Dark Detective is exactly what all of us were asking. If the entire city of Gotham has fallen under this new character, the Magistrate guy, then what happened to Bruce Wayne? Well, this tells us that storyline. If you're wondering how we're handling Future State here at the Comicstorian channel, it's very difficult for us to figure out what storylines are going to conclude, what's going to happen and stuff like that. So every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're going to get 1 to 2 Future State episodes right here at the channel in which we give you the issues that came out the week before. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where you can get early access to a lot of our videos. And don't forget, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this community. And I want to put out a special thank you to a couple of our Patreons, just so that you know that we are aware you're there, and thank you. A thank you, DJ Peabody, Impulse, Chase, and Sarah and Brandon for your participation in our Patreon program. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I will see you next time right here at the Future State stuff on the channel.